Hello, everybody. Greetings. My name is Khadijah Ali-Coleman, and thank you so much for joining the inaugural teach-in brought to you by Black family homeschool educators and scholars. Today's guest I'm very excited about because she is one of the trailblazing homeschooling parents who has not only done great work with her own children, but also really created a brand around the phenomenal work that she's doing in her community and the opportunities that she is building for homeschooling, Black homeschooling families, not only where she's located, but globally. And so I'm going to give her the opportunity to introduce herself and tell us a little bit about her homeschooling journey before she answers one of our pivotal questions that's guiding this teaching this year.
All right. Well, I want to first just say I'm in gratitude for you having me here and the work that you are doing. And, this is so important that all the dots connect with everything that what you're doing with the research and what so many others are doing on the home front in terms of just educating their own, right? And then also those who dive a little deeper into reach out to the community. So this is just one big, beautiful circle of love and perseverance and light. And I just want to give that energy to you and just, this is a new connection between us. So yes, I am Queen Taese, and gosh, I don't even know where to start. I guess my homeschooling journey started 24 years ago. For me, it was just a clear declaration that I wanted to be in the driver's seat of my children's education. And so they've never touched public school. So it's not like some crazy situation I had to pull them out, but just a conviction from the beginning, not necessarily knowing how it was going to be done. And that's one of the things that I share with a lot of others is that you don't necessarily have to know, you just have to have the will, the want, the love, and the commitment. And once you have that, then you can begin to gain different resources and connections. So for me, that's exactly what I did. I have 7 children. I have 5 that I've birthed and 2 through marriage. And so I'm divorced now. However, just in a great situation to be able to give from that initial experience in terms of not finding the way through not knowing the way. And so for me, it was kind of just jumping into it. I was living in New York City at the time. And there weren't any Black homeschool groups that I could find until about 2 years in. So for the first 2 years for me was a lot of trial and error, but it felt really good. We would homeschool at Central Park sometimes. We'd go to the museums and just the freedom to allow the world to be our classroom. And I knew that that was at least on the right journey. Really being focused on culture, on the transmission of culture, and making sure that my children had a self-identity, that they knew where they come, that they come from a rich history and a rich past that continues to the present and the future. So I made sure that that was infused in that experience as well. And then about 2 years in, I was able to connect with a homeschool group called the Homeschool Hut, which was in New York City. We were able to, it made the experience so much more full and robust in terms of their social life, in terms of being able to share responsibilities as families and also as mothers, activities, curriculum materials, field trips. So of course, from that point, it really showed me the value of family and coming together and the unification. So that's been my journey. It's been a great walk. I've been able to allow my children to walk in their divine purpose. And to me, that's the best thing ever. All of our children come here with a reason and a mission for what they're supposed to do in this lifetime. And I think it's so important that we cultivate them in that space. And so, my daughter was able to, at the age of 12, she was really into culinary arts. And she was able to start her own catering business. And that just really, that started with just a contest that she entered around. Someone told me, say, hey, I know your daughter loves cooking. And she was, so she started a vegan, vegetarian catering business. She won a huge contest with a ton of competitors with adults, and I had to sign a waiver for her to participate. And it was a Jamaican Caribbean jerk festival. They have a whole huge cooking competition every year. And she won it with vegan vegetarian food, which had never been done, because you think of jerk food, you think of jerk fish and all types of jerk meat, right? So it wasn't just because of her age, it was her creativity, it was her ability to take a tradition that had been in place and put a healthy spin on it, which was very important to her. And I was able to help nurture her in that space through her homeschooling curriculum, and at the same time adding in all of the things that she loved. It came a place where they did she was proclamated, they named the holiday after her here in Georgia, Health and Wellness Holiday. She's catered for, I don't know, everyone from congressmen to different city events, Six Flags concert series, like everybody you can name. And it was a family movement, you know? So it was something that everybody in the family gained from her success by our contribution. So I think that was a great message. The same thing with my son. He was able to dive into, he did an internship. I'm such a huge component of internships, apprenticeships, because it really is like college. Like I tell people, the knowledge they gain from being in that space. My daughter worked at a raw and vegan food restaurant. By the time she was 17, she was managing the whole culinary piece in the restaurant. And she got what other people would pay thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for to get that information. I've seen it with my son, who was able to fly at the age of 16 and became a licensed pilot by pouring into him as a family. And I think that's important that we know that it's a family movement, and that we all have to participate and create a family mission statement around where it is we want to go as a whole, as a collective. So that's the core. And then we have the branches off the tree, which are our own individual divine purposes that come together in the center. So for me, that the love and the joy of seeing them do the things that excited them the most, to see them love learning, to see them want to go to the next level and the next level and the next level and just keep on progressing, that was so much fuel for me to say there's no better way than homeschooling. So that really just opened up my whole mind in terms of working with other children. And so I began to homeschool other families, and then I began to do different events around homeschooling before the Expo, just different events that can engage our children and families in cultural education and inspiration and high expectations, you know, and then keeping that family environment. So that's kind of where the Expo was born, and that's what most people know me for at this point in time, is the Liberated Minds Black Homeschooling Education Expo, which is really just my pride and joy, because I just felt it's just a great opportunity for us to rewire our brains, right? To recondition ourselves into knowing that we have everything we need. And that takes a lot of detoxification of our own indoctrination as parents. So that's part of the journey. The trainings and the workshops are directly focused on just that, decolonizing our minds and getting us in alignment and in tune and in frequency with the greatness that we have exuded for thousands of years. Like, this is nothing new, you know? So they have an opportunity to connect with each other, because the networking and the building and bonding is so important. And then they also have an opportunity to connect with all types of culturally relevant materials, from books to curriculum to just a plethora of things. So that is definitely one of my favorite gatherings, but I also do counseling. I do curriculum, you know, building. I do speaking, a little bit of everything, training, seminars, wherever I'm called. I do a lot of traveling. Just got back from Puerto Rico, which was absolutely amazing, because I was just like, I had no idea. You know, it was an African homeschool group out there that brought me, and I was actually had a dual opportunity to connect with my son, because he was flying out that way at the same time. So it's just a beautiful experience to know our culture in that place, which I had no idea. Of course, we know that our roots are connected, but to actually go there and experience like minds. And so it's just showing me that wherever we are in the world at this moment in time, that we are ready. And so we're so ready and willing. And so now it's just connecting the dots. So I'm gonna stop right there, because
I I think you I think you've actually been humble with the amount of work and the things that you do. I think it's so valuable for people to hear about your own journey. And when you were talking about your daughter, I had to zip my lip. Like, I have notes to myself, not to talk you all to death, but I was like, let her finish. But I'm greedy. My mouth is watering when you were talking about your daughter cooking. I was like, what does she make? It's like, focus, because I want
to. That was a beautiful time, because I never cooked dinner. Like, she was like, always, I got it. That was her favorite thing.
Wow.
So when she got older and she moved out, I was just like, so everyone's looking at me, so who's making dinner? Oh, would that be me? Would that be me? Oh, okay.
When she won the contest, what she cooked and won with, was that something you had taught her how to make, or did she learn that on her own?
Created it. She made a jerk, kale salad. She made barbecue jerk, veggie kebabs. And she's so big into the presentation. So even though, most of the people presented their food on like paper plates, she told me, Mom, no, I know what I want. And I want these really pretty dishes that I saw. And she had the flowers, she just went all out. And because presentation is really a big thing for her as well.
Wow.
So I just I said, okay, I'm gonna let you do your thing. And wherever she needed me, she would say, well, what do you think? Taste this, try this. I remember her being up all night. She never went to sleep that night before.
Yeah.
And my daughter is like she's just really humble and mellow and just a sweet spirit. But I'll tell you, that day when they called her name on that stage, when I looked, like, is that my daughter? Like, she just jumped up and was like, yeah, she was 12 years old, this tall.
Oh my goodness.
And it was so amazing. So, that experience, which shows, I want everybody to see that each experience adds to their confidence and their competence. And that experience let her know that I could actually have a business doing this.
Yeah.
I can give her that suggestion from that experience, and everyone showing her the love for what she had done there. It inspired her to go even further.
It sounds like your entire approach is strength-based, that you really believe, even when you say that you believe that children have their purpose, you believe that homeschooling can really come from, or can really be used as a tool for children to find their strength and to hone that. It doesn't have to be all this extraneous stuff that's not connected with who they are as learners.
That is so true. And
Yeah.
I mean, I think if we tap into that as parents, and we realize, we must realize that our situation as parents to our children, it's a reciprocal process. So the more we cultivate them, the more they cultivate us.
That's true.
And where we get stuck at is when we feel like they're just not cooperating with what we want, The whole point is if there's a space where you feel blockage, then we have to go into ourselves as parents and say, where do I need to grow? Because each one of our children come with a different message and a different experience that allows us to grow further. And that's why a lot of times when people have multiple children, the latter children are the ones that are more feisty, or that are more seasoned, they come more clear, and it's because that's our evolution that's being reflected in our children. And so, I have one like that. I have a 6-year-old right now, 6-year-old at home. He's the youngest. And he wakes up like, yeah, he goes to bed like, yeah. I'm like, all right. This must be some kind of joke. Like, you should have came in the beginning. But all right, I said, I'm up for the challenge. So
wow. That's awesome. And I can attest to just how amazing your expo is. I know that in the early days when I was homeschooling my daughter when she was in elementary school, 3 times I tried to make my way to Georgia, and something came up financially where I wasn't able to get down there. But I know people who made that trip, and every time, when they would share their experience, it was everything, all of the adjectives that you use, were words that they use about the love, about the sharing, about the collaborative, just nature of everything. Everybody wanting to connect and stay in touch, once they met someone. And so it's really, your expo, though it happens once a year, it seems like it's responsible for a lot of long-lasting connections and networking among people within the community. So we're going to have your information on our website, so that folks can contact you leading up to the teach-in. But even as they listen to this, they can go and like, oh, I want to go and check out more about that. And so this leads us to the question that I wanted to ask you, for our breakout discussions that we will have during the week of the teach-in. What do we as Black homeschooling families need more of? And that can be anything, how you interpret that question. It can be resources, it can be something among ourselves. What do we need more of?
Well, I feel we need to trust ourselves more. I think we've been raised in a system that has repeatedly cultivated a spirit within us that makes us doubt ourselves and our abilities and our capabilities. It has allowed us to be, or forced us to be to rely on a system that is really anti-us. And so for me, number one, it would just be to trust ourselves and to know that we've been doing this before they were doing this. They came to us in ancient times to learn from us. And then they give us back the same information and repackage it, and we take it in at that given moment in time. So I think it's really important that we know that we have the capabilities and that everything that we need lies in our DNA, and we have to be able to tap into that through our tools of whether it's meditation, whether it's prayer, whether it's yoga, whatever we need to do. All of these modalities are there and they're resurfacing now. And so these are the, where we can get the support to make that a reality in our lives. Another thing I think we need to do more of is just connect with each other. Be non-judgmental of each other. Everyone is in a different place, a different leg of the journey. And that's actually what makes it beautiful, right? So it's like if you had a big bouquet of flowers, all the different colors that come together, and it's the different colors of our personalities, of our experiences, and, recognizing that it's going to take us to dispel all the myths that we're different, in the sense of we've been taught you're from here, you're from there, and you're from there. And that keeps us still calling ourselves minorities when we are the world majority. And so when we come together, we love each other for where we are. We have relationships that are full of integrity and full of commitment to our growth, and leave the jealousy out, and because all of those things pass on to our children. And whether we know it or not, they pick up on the vibrations and the frequencies. And so being able to come together and cooperate and build together, to create together, and just form, my whole thing is, this whole vision of we're all going to be all one unified ball of energy. I don't believe that necessarily, but what I do know for a fact that if we come together with the people that we naturally gel with, and you naturally are just on a similar vibration and frequency, and you begin to build in those pockets, and you begin to build trust, you begin to build community, and then it creates more of a safe way to be able to connect with other groups as such. And I think it has to start small like that. One of the other things I really feel is important is that we raise our expectations. And I think that is extremely key, because the expectations that we have been given over all these years do not apply to us. They're very low level expectations. That's why when we see on Facebook all the little posts of the 10-year-old child over in Africa was able to, like the boy who harnessed the wind, right? That is our norm, y'all. That's our norm. That's our everyday. When we have knowledge of self, we know who we are, we support each other. That is our everyday, those are everyday accomplishments for us. I know that, I attest to that, I live that. So the things that, this is a great story I'm gonna tell real quick. I don't wanna take up too much time, but I'll give you a great example, because there was a point in time where I really felt like my expectations were high, right? And even when you think they're high, they're really low. They're just high in comparison. However, I had a friend of mine who had moved out of town. She had a baby. She moved out of state. She came back to visit. Her son was 4 months old. I love telling this story. And so we were sitting on the couch and we're talking, and I'm just like looking at him like so adorable, and we're just talking about life, just catching up real quick. And she says, "Oh, hold on a second. I need to take him to the bathroom." And I said, "You need to take who to the bathroom?" "I need to take the baby to the bathroom." And I'm like, "He's 4 months old. Are you joking?" She was like, "No, I'm potty training him. He's good. He's been doing really well." I'm looking at her like, "What are you talking about?" And so she takes him to the bathroom, and I follow behind her, of course, because I have to see for myself. Like, she's tripping out right now. I don't know what she's talking about. So I peek around the corner, and literally she puts him on the toilet, and he goes to the bathroom. And I'm like, what in the world? Like, who does that? Where does that come from? So she says, "Well, I was online, and I was looking up some things, and I came across this thing called elimination communication." I was like, "I don't understand." She was like, "Yeah, children can learn from birth." And I looked at her, I said, "That's gotta be something indigenous," because in my mind was totally intrigued at that point. So I remember when she left, when she didn't leave, and I went online, and I just spent like hours online researching. And I found this whole study in Uganda, and that it was an indigenous tradition from African women to our native indigenous people. And so they train their babies from birth because their children can. They give them signals and cues, just like anything else. If it's a pet, you might say, "Oh no, I gotta hurry up and take them to go to the bathroom." It's the same thing with our children, is that we just, in this culture, we don't tune into those little cues as much because we're so busy in this lifestyle. But it's just a signal. It might be an expression on their face. And it amazed me. But what I thought about is, I said, that's so interesting. It goes to show how deep our indoctrination is, because I thought about it, and I said, when I read that, and it talked about that this was just their regular, normal culture, I realized, I said, I don't think we see the babies on our backs, right? I've never seen a baby with a diaper on. And when you think about it, never, ever, ever have I, on the continent or in other indigenous traditions, if you see images, pictures, videos. And I says, well, how did I not make the connection with that? Little babies and infants. So it just showed me, I says, wow, we expect for our children to be potty trained at 2 and at 3 because we've been told that. So we have to question everything. We have to research everything. What is really ours, right? And what isn't? What is really true and what isn't? And begin to reset a new standard that is more congruent to who we are as a people that we've been exhibiting for all of these years. So I just thought that was a great story, because for me, I was like, wow. And I shared that with my daughter when my grandbaby was born. And she literally was potty training at 4 months old. She would tell her when she had to move her bowels. And I was like, I got to take video of this because no one's going to believe it. I was just like, this is amazing. So it's just, a lot of it is just knowing that our children can perform at higher levels than what we were accustomed to. And not just raising the expectation and holding them accountable, but we also have to give them the necessary tools to perform on that level. Because it's not fair to ask them to do something, where we're not giving them the support to make that happen. So those are probably the 3 most striking things that come to my forefront.
What a great overview. What great things to share. I love that story. I absolutely love that story, because as you're even telling the story, I'm thinking about how many times I would tell my daughter when she was 2, how I knew that she had to use the bathroom was in her high chair right after eating, and she would do that pause.
And you would see, right?
And I would take a thing, and we would run to the bathroom. And it's just so interesting, is because I knew when she was a baby, the same thing. It really didn't change from before too. It was consistent.
The same sign.
Right, but it's no thought that, oh, let me take the infant to the bathroom. It's just like, watch them do their business. Look at her
right.
go. You just know it's going to be a surprise for you.
We should be functioning in stages and not ages. So we should be looking at the stage that our children, what stage are they at? Not what age are they? Because we know the stages are, you know, they're very personalized thing. Every child is different. We had children, you know, parents who, children are 5 and they can't read yet. Oh my gosh. And they're stressing the child out about reading, and then they don't love, then they're like, I don't like reading, I don't like learning. And it's like, it's stages. And so if we appreciate the stages, come away from the ages and just appreciate each and every, you know, experience, give them the assistance through each stage, we'll see that they will excel, especially knowing that they can achieve. So
you just told a word right there. That was religious text right there. What you just, you know, with the research that I did recently for my dissertation, I actually talked to the children themselves who have been homeschooled, and that was the consistent takeaway that all of them had regarding their homeschool experience preparing for college was that during homeschooling, they were able to learn at their own pace. And so whatever that, because for some of them, that meant being able to finish and accelerate in math, where for others, they were able to take their time on those subjects that gave them, that they struggle with. So by the time they began college, because I looked at dual enrolled African-American homeschool children, by the time they got to college, they knew who they were as learners. They knew how much time they needed on stuff, and that contributed to them being successful as college scholars. So that is what you just said.
Because it carries for life. It carries, you know, we have to realize that we're not, they're beautiful and cute, but we're raising adults, right? We have to keep that in mind. It's like we're raising husbands and wives and leaders, scholars, and, you know, so we have to look at that, whatever they experience, you know, through their learning phases of life is going to carry into their actual life and living as adults.
Stages, not ages. That's your next book. That right there.
You putting me to work some more, aren't you?
Stages, not ages. That right there. You know? So thank you so much, Queen Taese. It has been a pleasure. Like, I just feel like you are warmth and family. Like, you just bring such a warmness and just this interaction with you. I can only imagine the people who are blessed to interact with you on the daily and as part of your homeschooling network. So I appreciate you so much for being here. Well, for the viewers who are watching, I really hope Queen Taese will share with us. Of course, you'll be able to find her bio, but she's going to share links to all of the things that she has in the pipeline, her expo. She has resources and things that she makes available to families. And so for all of that, to be able to contact her, you'll be able to find that after you finish viewing this video. Thank you so much, Queen Taese, and thank you, watchers, for being part of our inaugural teaching.
We love out to all of you. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. We can do it. I am because we are. Yes. Thank you.
And so with that, thank you, everybody. We hope that on Friday, July 24th, you join us for the virtual component of this teaching where you were sharing your feedback or any thoughts, asking questions regarding any of the messages that our speakers have shared with you over the course of the week from July 20th to the 23rd. Thanks so much and have a great day.